Welcome to the Filthy Badge series,
Police officers take an oath to protect and serve,
where we go precinct to precinct finding the dirtiest cops.
Deli joined the force in 2015, but tonight he's in jail charged with rape.
Some officers across the country are misusing that authority.
And now, the accused. In San Patricio County, Texas, records show and obtained by the Ksat 12 defenders shedded new light on how a South Texas police officer bounced around departments despite a trail of misconduct. In one instance, Taft police officer Roberto Moreno was accused of groping a San Antonio area woman during the August 2019 drug arrest. That same day, he was notified of an impending suspension for an unrelated parking dispute with a resident, record shows. These instances were far from Moreno's first disciplinary issues. The 31-year-old officer at the time landed in Taft, a small coastal bend town north of Corpus Christi, after bouncing between law enforcement agencies following policy violations. The alleged misconduct accelerated, occurring more frequently in each instance, until Moreno was eventually charged with a felony for the alleged groping incident. But as Moreno's issues played out, first as a cadet with the Corpus Christi Police Department, then as an officer in Beeville and Taft, the state agency that licensed peace officers did not have the authority to investigate his conduct. For now, Moreno is a free man on bond awaiting trial for the improper sexual activity charge. He is also a defendant in a federal civil rights lawsuit stemming from the same incident. Moreno is no stranger to on-duty controversy, sexual or otherwise, prior to the 2019 groping allegations. According to his personal file from multiple agencies, Moreno's Texas Commission on Law Enforcement records list several courses he took while attending the Corpus Christi Police Academy, but the academy does not appear in his service history. Moreno conceded in a letter to a prospective employer that he had been kicked out of the academy in late January 2014, just days before graduation. Moreno's letter states only that he was let go due to violating probation standards. After the defenders formally requested records related to Moreno's exit from the academy, Corpus Christi city officials late last month attempted to block their release, claiming in a letter to the Texas Attorney General that the information is highly intimate or embarrassing, and the publication of it would be highly objectionable to a reasonable person. Months after he was kicked out of the academy, Moreno began working as a jailer, working for the New Sage County Sheriff's Office in April 2014. He had previously worked in a similar position at a Robestown private prison from May 2012 to August 2013. Though an NCSO assistant chief deputy told Taft police officials in September 2018 that Moreno had no discipline issues or investigations for misconduct in his personal file, officials are attempting to block that same file from being released to the defenders. An attorney representing NCSO this month asked the Attorney General's office permission to withhold portions of the file because they believe it contained confidential information. The agency has not yet released the portions of the file it did not mark as confidential. Moreno, according to TCOLE records, completed a different law enforcement academy in December 2015 and began working for the Beeville Police Department 3 days later. Then he found himself in trouble in Beeville. Moreno's 26-month tenure as a Beeville police officer was riddled with misconduct, personal record shows. The defenders cover at least 8 disciplinary incidents, ranging from work absences to having sex while on duty and in a marked police vehicle. In August 2016, Moreno was issued a written counseling for not attending municipal court. Moreno blamed the absence on staying out late the night before to assist the department's narcotics units, record shows. 3 months later, in November 2016, Moreno was handed a written reprimand for driving his patrol vehicle more than 10 miles per hour over the speed limit. The reprimand noted that Moreno previously wrecked a patrol vehicle while driving to an emergency call in August 2016, and that the department had received numerous complaints about his driving from supervisors within the agencies and from residents in the town. In January 2017, Moreno was given another written counseling, this time for failing to inventory a knife that had been used in an attempted suicide. The knife, still covered in blood and other body fluids, was put into a brown paper bag and left in the top drawer of a desk instead of being placed into the department's evidence system. The frequency of Moreno's rule breaking would ramp up in the summer of 2017. That June, he was given a written reprimand for failing to report to duty. Then the following month, he received another written counseling for not showing up to a department in service. Then 4 days later, he got another written counseling, this time for failing to make sure that his body camera was recording properly. In August 2017, Moreno added another written reprimand for directing rude behavior toward his supervisor, not following an order, and for abusive language. The department issued Moreno an indefinite suspension, tantamount to firing him, in October 2017 after an internal investigation determined he repeatedly had sex with a woman while on duty and often in a marked patrol car. Moreno, when questioned, acknowledged having issues with fidelity, but denied violating any Beesville Police Department policy, record shows. That woman, who was source familiar with the case, said was 19 years old at the time of the affair. Moreno was accused of angrily confronting her at her home in a partial Beeville PD uniform after she revealed the affair publicly. She told police that Moreno got crazy, he had threatened her, and that she was really afraid of him. She also revealed to the police that the sex acts between her and Moreno will often take place after he picked her up in his patrol vehicle or after she met him at a city park while he was in uniform or on duty. Beeville Police Chief Robert Bridge, in a letter to Moreno informing him of the indefinite suspension, claimed that the department received complaints from 3 other women that same month who all criticized Moreno's behavior. All 3 females complained of the manner in which you approached them, the questions that you asked, and that you made them feel uncomfortable, Bridge wrote. Moreno, through a union attorney, appealed his termination days later. His union attorney did not respond to repeated requests from the defenders to provide an interview for this story. Moreno remained with the Beesville Police Department for several more months before leaving the agency in February 2018. In a letter submitted by Moreno as part of his application for another law enforcement job, he claimed that the result of the appeal was that he'd be returned to work and that records from the termination be destroyed. But the defenders, however, could find no such order for destruction of files. Moreno, who again disputed the woman's story and that he had broken any department rules, wrote in a letter that his union attorney advised him that it would be in his best interest to resign. Bridge gave Moreno an honorable discharge on his license separation paperwork in February 2018, making it much easier for Moreno to land another law enforcement job. The paperwork, called an F5, allows agencies to give an officer a general discharge if the officer's separation is related to a conduct investigation, or dishonorable discharge if the officer's separation is tied to a criminal investigation, insubordination, or untruthfulness. Bridge didn't respond to repeated requests for comment on his handling of Moreno's exit from the department. A Sunset Committee review of TCOLE released during this year's regular legislative session found that the agency is fragmented with regulations that were by and large toothless. The review, which noted that the TCOLE does not have any authority to investigate conduct or alleged criminal actions of an officer. Also determined that approximately 25% of the officers dishonorably discharged are later hired by another law enforcement agency anyway. The rehire percentage for officers given honorable and general discharges is much higher. Texas law prohibits the state from taking away a peace officer's license unless the officer has at least 2 dishonorable discharges on his or her record, really providing virtually zero oversight of police officers in Texas, said Scott Henson, the policy director of Just Liberty and author of the Grits for Breakfast blog, which explores criminal justice issues in Texas. He said,
even your plumber or your barber, has more regulatory oversight.
But Roberto Moreno was arrested by the Texas Rangers on suspicion of violation of civil rights of a person in custody. The crime was a misdemeanor, and Moreno posted $25,000 bond and was released.
Shawn? Cornish? Hi, Dylan Collier with Ksat 12. Hear about Roberto Moreno and his tenure with the Taft Police Department. I was wondering why you gave him an honorable discharge after the allegations against him.
My lawyers.
Who's that? You didn't tell us who your lawyers were.
It's already incredibly difficult to hold officers accountable at the local level. The state's doing virtually nothing.